Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of Super Rugby Pacific. This one heading down south to Dunedin between the Highlanders and the Blues. Two sides that are yet to get themselves a victory for the Super Rugby Pacific season. Currently a packed house by the looks of it, or at least in certain areas of the stadium. The Blues, of course, a big contender for this year, the defending champs, and they want to get back on the winning path. Looking through at the Highlanders starting lineup. First of all, though, it will be Ethan de Groot, Sawani Vakena, ex-Blues man in the 2 jersey, and Seua Mau as the number 3. Fabian Holland with Mitchell Dunshay in the locking duo with Withy at 7, Withy at 6, Lasanga at 7, and Hugh Renton slotting in as the number 8. Fakatava and Robinson will be the 19 combo. Tavatava Nawai takes on 12 with Tenuelu Talia on his outside. Tangitau, Gilbert, and Hurley as the Highlanders back 3 looking through at the Blues for their starting lineup. A big change in that 4-pack, but first of all, the front row, Ofa Tuangafasi, Ricky Riccatelli, and Marcel Renata. Then Tui Pelotu and McWannell, they continue to be the locking duo. Cameron Suafua moves to 6 in the absence of Anton Segner. Dalton Papali at 7, and your eyes do not deceive you, a man who some people complained about not being able to select in their fantasy rugby, Hoskin Satutu as the number 8. First game of the season for that man. Scored a lot of tries last year. Has once again something to prove. Wasn't selected in the All Blacks and wants to get there, although maybe heading overseas. Finley Christie and Harry Plummer as the 19 combo. AJ Lamb and Ricky Ioane, that's a new brother, but Rico Ioane at number 13. Caleb Clark, Mark Talia, and Bowden Barrett at number 15. Now I'm curious whether or not there is a Ricky Ioane somewhere, but he is not off the bench for either of these sides. Instead, it will be Taylor, Leonard Brown, and Kultai, Stoddard, and Broughton, Hasty, Miller, and Nayata as the number 23. For the Blues, they have got Mullen, Fusitua, and Ta'aval, Berry, Cho, Funaki, Evans, and Forbes. And as we've seen here already, quite a few changes compared to what we saw last week, and some of which are due to injuries. And it's just a tough season by the looks of it in terms of the amount of guys that are going down. That last match between the Hurricanes and the Fijian draw, I believe we saw 3 or 4 players injured across the sides. We have got there, hi Hamish, remember me, says Big Roll Bros. I certainly do. You were here yesterday, and hopefully we will get to see you throughout the rest of the weekend. They are just having a moment's silence for Connor Garden Bishop. Of course, this is the first home game for the Highlanders since his passing. Who do you think will win this match, says Big Rolls? Well, the Highlanders are favourites. Well, no, sorry. They're underdogs, but they're hometown favourites, if that makes sense. Like, they are expected to at least put on a good showing for this matchup, but it is going to be, of course, a very tough one to go up against the Blues. But now, we will show you the table as well. Well, I should mention there has been an update. The Hurricanes, they are sitting away from the 10th. They will move right up into, I believe they'll now be 7th. At the moment, they are playing a bit of country roads around the ground. This is going to be an emotional game for these Highlanders players. Of course, spending a lot of time with their teammate Connor Garden Bishop. They've got him up on the big screen as well. True and Dunedin, says Big Roll Bros. And hey, says Robert, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Hope you're excited for this matchup. It is going to be an intense one and a big occasion for the Highlanders. We do see there Caleb Tangitau. He is an X-Factor player. And I think we've just learnt recently in terms of the skill of these sevens men coming into the side. You know, Fihi Finian Nofo. We've seen Caleb Tangitau, Leroy Carter all tearing it up out on the wing. And I feel like it's the type of maybe situation that we'll see more sides use in the future. Definitely from New Zealand, get those sevens wingers in there. Someone like I don't know who you could go for at the moment. Maybe a youngster, Cody Vi, or anyone along those lines. They've got passing of the jersey from both sides. The number 14 on the back. Today that will be worn by Sam Gilbert. And never underestimate the underdogs. Says Matthew, exactly right. I mean, the Fijian draw, they proved that in the last contest that, you know, if you play well as a side that aren't expected to win, you can get very close. And that is exactly what happened in the last match. It was the closest of the round. Now, Highlanders are doing a haka before this match does get underway. But do let me, of course, know who you think will be scoring the first try of this contest, what you think your score prediction, how you think that's going to go, who's the Blues starting 15. We will go through the sides once again, but first of all, since they are the home side, we will look at the Highlanders to group in the front row alongside Sawani Vakina, the ex-Blues man, at 2, and Seua Ma'u slotting at 3. Holland and Dunshay in the locking duo with Withy, Lasanga and Renton in the loose forward trio. Pakatava and Tane Robertson, then Tava Tavanawai and Talia, then Tangitau, Gilbert and Hurley as the back three. For the Blues, Ofa Toingafasi, Riccatelli and Marcel Renata, Tui Pilotu and Lachlan McWannell there in the locking duo. Suafua, Dalton Papali and Hoskin Satutu there as the number 8. Finley Christie, Harry Plummer as the 19 combination. AJ Lamb, Rico Ioane in the midfield. Then Clark, Talia and Barrett as the back three. The Highlanders, they are going to be wearing that classic dark blue. For the Blues, they are away from home, so they will be wearing the white strip with the trim of blue today. But Nick Berry, he is going to be in charge of this contest. Assistant referees Damon Murphy, Jeremy Markey, and Brett Cronin on the TMO. But that's all the information that we need to know about this game as we get ready to go for this head-to-head, another New Zealand derby. Who's the Blues? Oh no, we read that one. Go the Blues, says Freedom, and go the Landers. There's Simran there, both sides chasing their first win of the season. 73% for the win predictor in favour of the away side, and a lot of eyes on Hoskin Satutu to see how he goes in his first game back since his injury. The Blues, they're going to be kicking off from left to right. The crowd are loud down in Dunners, and they get it underway now, the Blues, and nicely taken by Tenuelu Talia. Oh, and it's a hard run. Tell you what, that looked just like the NRL. He's got the haircut for it, looking very similar to Tino Suamala-Awi. Now, nice attack and run from Plummer, though, after the kick has gone into their possession. Ricky Riccatelli, currently sitting 40 metres out from the line, already trying to get that early advantage. Finley Christie, referee tells him, don't do that. Bowden Barrett, quick hands to the midfield to Rico Ioane. The sad reality is, across these two sides, we're probably going to see at least 2 injuries throughout this match. The big question is, who is it going to be? And hopefully they aren't too serious. We saw a sprig to the eyeball in the last game for the Hurricanes, Xavier Numia. In fact, no, sorry, it was Braden Yossi. And that was a cool haka tribute. Says David the Mod there, and the Landers to win by 15, now passing out wide. Chance for Cameron Suafua. Relatively well in that number 8 jersey last week, but of course some people felt he was just keeping it warm for the eventual return. Christie with the rough pass, but they'll go back for the original penalty, and this one will be in favour of the Blues. About 40 metres out, something that you don't have to deal with while inside Forsyth Barr. Very rarely is the wind, unless it is absolutely howling through that little gap in the stadium. But even so, it should be completely fine. Now they have the big decision to make, the Blues. Do they go aggressive, kick it for the corner and try and get themselves the early try? And before I even give you option B, they've decided to go with option A, and that is kick it towards the corner and try and get that first score of the match. Just seems to be the mindset of a lot of sides. Caleb Clark didn't get the ball as much as he would have liked last week, so I expect to see quite a bit of him today. Already 2 minutes into this contest. They're in a very good position. Wonder if the tickets are cheap at the zoo. I think they are. I think that they are probably, I would assume, because it's mainly for uni students, I wouldn't think there would be any more than $20. Possibly even a tenner, maybe. But now rolling ball here for Ricky Riccatelli. That looked like it was in through the side. Yes, it was. And now inches from the try line. Already the advantage in their favour. The Highlanders trying to hang on to this one. Caleb Clark drops the head and somehow is short of the line. Finley Christie puts the ball out. and gets the first try of the contest for the Blues. They already had the penalty advantage, so Highlanders living dangerously, but he puts the fin up for the Marcos, and the Blues have the early lead. Let's go Landers, says Tyler there, and Blues should be winners. Highlanders doing their Scottish fling, says Ruth, and the tries from David there too. Just a nice rolling maul for the Blues. It's something that they will use a lot throughout this season, and just side entry from, I think it was Lasanga, trying to stop it, and then Finley Christie. That is honestly such a big gap next to the breakdown, and I'm surprised that the Highlanders didn't have anyone there. De Groot got a little cheap shot in while he was at it. It's just at 37 degrees in Melbourne, says Matthew. And Morning Dull says JD, and try. Bowden Barrett, oh, tell you what, he's getting close. 46 points away from tying with Mornay Stain for all-time Super Rugby point scorers. That would take him into second. Of course, still a long gap between anyone and Dan Carter. Kick has gone over from Barrett. Nick Berry doing very well to get out of the way of that one. Almost got cleaned up. Pushed to the side from Satutu. He's not playing around, but good early strike from the away team. When's George coming back to co-host, Hamish? I'm not sure, to be honest. Like, we went fishing the other night. Like, we had him on the Rugby 25 reviews. Managed to convince him to come back to the channel for those videos. Like, maybe we'll do a career mode in the future. I don't think there'll be many live streams with him in, though, just because he will struggle to commit to a time with it being, like, the way that his work is. You can get called away in an instant. It's going to be kicked high by Finley Christie. Oh, that's an ugly landing. And it sounds like he was going for the ball, so it is going to be play on. Tane Robertson landing pretty hard there. And Hi All says Judah, welcome in. And Let's Go the Blues says Septimus. Now near the halfway line, Falau Fakatava goes off to the left. Seula Ma'u pops the ball up. A little bit of a juggle from Teneo Talia. Fakatava going with the box kick. Miss George, quirky sense of humour. Says Ruth. But yeah, we have managed to get him in for those Rugby 25 videos. The one where we played as the Chiefs versus the Blues. Or we played as the Blues versus the Chiefs, I should say. Now nice attack and run. Caleb Clark with a pass out to Rico Ioane. Still hasn't been able to get those tries that he's after. I bet on Blues to score first and be the first team to score 10 points. Well, they've got a very good chance of doing that in this very near future. Lachlan McWannell tackled again. Harry Plummer off to Mark Talia. Hit in the one-on-one by Finn Hurley. A little bit of a counter-ruck from the Landers. Nothing doing. Okay, Zoo, $15. It says students. I wonder if that means ancient people like me going to buy a ticket for there. I think it's just for students. Like anywhere else, you probably have to get the ticket for. But that still leaves you a lot of space, of course. And that's going to be a knock-on from the Blues in the breakdown. Stephen Petafetta not playing or injured. I believe injured at the moment. Every side at the moment in Super Rugby has an injury list that is absolutely huge. And I think Petafetta is on the Blues one. Matthew says Judah. Is he a fireman? No, he's not. He's a farmer. So pretty much if the grass is dry, it needs to be cut, needs to be windrowed, as the Americans would say, or raked, as they say here in Kiwi land, he'll be away. I love it to see all those these Fab Rugby rockers tuning in, Hamish. Says Ruth. Oh, that's very nice. They show the zoo, and first thing you see is some student ripping the fingers in the middle. Gotta love Dunedin. And hi, says Jacob. I remember I was down in Dunedin when someone drove through the side of the KFC. Whole new meaning of drive-through. That's actually a true story. Fun fact. Jacob has said, I welcome in. 7 minutes in. Falau Fakatava. Pack weights, 934 kgs for the Blues compared to 923 kgs of the Highlanders. And that's another penalty. Who scored first? The first try of the match was scored by Finley Christie. The Blues 9, Marcel Renata, the man who has been penalised for that one. Just said about that penalty count being pretty high, 16 in total. And, you just can't afford to have a number that high. I just talked about Ethan de Groot's issues last week. I got to get nephew down there studying. Well, hopefully. Says David the Mod. A line out throw for Sawani Vakina. A little bit overcooked, but it's going to be Ethan de Groot, in fact, who manages to slap that one back onto his side. What do you think score will be? I think it's going to be a relatively high-scoring game. Both of these sides have got a lot of try-scoring ability, and that was a nice little flick pass on the inside from Folau Fakatava to Gilbert. Now off to the right, quick hands, Hurley, I should say. Fakatava. Run forward from Sawani Vakena, straight through the middle of the breakdown from Cameron Sua for ill discipline. Continuing. I'm watching the game right now live and getting KFC delivery for dinner. And Dunedin Wild Place, the 2-2 going to bang them in today over the line, and they will go back for the initial advantage. It's going to be... I don't think this is going to be the last warning as of yet, but they also can't afford to give away too many more. I want Highlanders to win because they never win. Says Nov Mum. Is it also slightly because it would help your Chiefs in the long run, Pats? Oh. Seua Ma'u's just crushed his neck by the looks of that. Or is it the knee? Maybe the knee gave way, which then gave him heavy contact. Last game, Blues were up at half, then totally crashed and burned in the second. Says Judah. Looks like he's still rotating the neck, Seua Ma'u, so he's going to continue just for now, but they'll keep an eye on that injury. Chance 10 metres from the line. I think Highlanders will win 45 and 35. Super Rugby is such a brutal pace. No wonder there's so many injuries, says David the Mod. But they are not allowed to win against the Chiefs, says Nov Mum. Oh, yep, Seua Ma'u's actually going to have to go from the field. That is for an HIA. Like they've said, it looked like an awkward collision, but I think it was the way that his head got crunched to the side. We're going to see it now. He twists his neck in a really awkward way. He's probably lucky he didn't break his neck the way it got crunched. So they have taken him off just because of that big contact. Now 10 metres out from the line. So Wani Vakina has got the possession at the back. Going through the middle, Lachlan McWannell is legal. And he's done very nicely to shut that one down. That ball is not coming out of the Blues, defending perfectly with Lachlan McWannell. Nick Berry said that White's done a good job there, being Lachlan McWannell to go through the middle. Blues 35 to 28, says Ruth. Yeah, just sneaks through. And then gets in there, grabs half a bit of jumper. Stop that ball from coming in, and then the Blues able to collapse it effectively to get that turnover. Already 10 minutes in. The Blues have conceded 2 penalties. The Highlanders just the 1, but the possession is in favour of the Blues throughout the first 10. The Highlanders' best chance of winning this game, they need to have more possession. Plain and simple. And well done, the Blues, says David the Mod. Yeah, doing it exactly how they'd want to. And that's gone down in the front rows. Time is off by Nick Berry. One early try in this match of Finlay Christie. It came a little bit later than the one between the Hurricanes and the Fijian draw. Duplessis Karefi scoring within 40 seconds of the start of that game. I think it's going to be hard to beat that. And discipline, please, says Roof. Yeah, it's the big talking point. All throughout the last week, we have seen people mentioning, will the Blues be able to pull it back? Top tackler last week was Cameron Suafua, playing 8. This week he is playing 6. Now ball put in by Finlay Christie. Oh, popping up there was de Groot. And that'll be the penalty going the way of Marcel Renata. That's 1-1 at the moment between those two. It's probably going to be about a 10-round fight, I would say. Scrum time in this match between those two. 1 round apiece. Who's the heaviest pack here? So for this match, 934 kgs for the Blues compared to the 923, I believe it was, of the Highlanders. So a narrow advantage by about 11 kgs. Go the Highlanders, says other side of the fence. The group already heavily sweating inside of Forsyth Barr. It's actually not too bad temperature-wise down in Dunedin. Now Hoskins Satutu, his first run of the Super Rugby season, gets squashed on the way to the turf. Tui Palotu running it at Soani Vakina. Now Christie, skip pass, little pop-up, loose ball, cleaned up by Bowden Barrett, who has Caleb Tangi Tau all over him. The Blues retreating back to their own 22 currently, but they won't be able to kick it out as it will be taken back. Now, Christie puts it high. Down towards the halfway line. Finn Hurley takes it well for the Landers. Sam Gilbert, nice pass across to Tamothi Tavanawai. Tackled low by Dalton Papali'i. Bakatava thought about the inside ball, will run it himself instead. As long as the Blues don't miss, behave like the Hurricanes did, says Matthew, and Satutu, they're targeting him. He's got speed. Now back across to the left. Sawani Vakina. And a ruck coming from the Blues, and it's going to work out. I think Fakatava felt he was going to get a penalty for that. Christie, big wide cut-out pass, goes to AJ Lamb. Now Bowden Barrett inside to Lamb, who will cut straight through. Renton slows him down. A great last-ditch tackle from the Highlanders, number 8. Now Ioane in possession. That is forward by about 3 metres from Rico. And they'll go back for the scrum. That's a good start. Keep that ball, Blues. And Fakatava Ushpower, says Ruth. And a high says, hey. Welcome in. Okay, by the sounds of it, Jeff Wilson not happy with that ball being counted as out. And Bowden, the man, says David the Mod. Yeah, he's going to have a big role to play throughout this contest. Now it looks like Papa Lee, maybe a shoulder. But hopefully he will be all right. Unfortunately, those injuries, like we've said, they just keep on racking up. So someone who's playing well in the first half of the season just as likely could be gone for the second half, unfortunately. And it's just the sad reality of such a physical competition. I think it was 1999 when the Highlanders contested Super Rugby final party at Tony Brown's. Says Tanai. And good hands today, no dropping balls. And Sweet Satutu playing, says Reflecting Trees there. Yeah, about 10 years ago was the last time the Highlanders lifted that Super Rugby trophy too. It's been a little while. They do feel that they've got enough potential this year. Christie tried to get the turnover. Oh, dodging that ball was Fabian Holland. That's because Jeff Wilson is one-eyed. Says David the Mod. Fakatava looking for the kick in behind. Sounded like it partially brushed a Blues hand going towards the sideline, and Bowden Barrett cleans it up. Wasn't sure if it was going dead or out, so he wanted to just make sure of it. Taking it quickly. What's that? Ofatoinga Fussy. Okay, so because they decided to take it quickly, Toanga Fussy was put back on side, which very much confused some of the Highlanders players, but they almost threw him the intercept pass. Satutu is my man of the match already. Says, Reef, I don't know about that. He's had 1 carry so far. But, yeah, Ofatoinga Fussy knowing exactly what was and wasn't allowed. So, yeah, pretty much he is allowed to be there, but then just knocking it on in the process. And we have got their brain snap. Says Reflecting Trees. I think the skip pass over the top might have been the safer option in that case. There was a lot of space between Ofatoinga Fussy and the rest of his teammates. Now another scrum feed, 1-1 at the moment. 1 to Renata, 1 for Ethan de Groot. Who's going to get the better of this one? And Bowden Barrett is all class, awesome to watch. Right, it holds still, so that round's a draw. Now going back across, that's going to be knocked on by Tenielu Talia and then knocked on, I thought, by Rico, yes. They will go back for another scrum. This time it's going to be the feed for the Blues. Quite a few drop balls throughout the early stages of this match. And Talia screaming about it too. He's not happy with the hands. Was a little bit too far behind him though, to be fair. Tane Robinson not giving him the best chance of catching it. Voting has held his nerve so far, says Roof, and Auckland FC 6 to the Wellington Phoenix 1, says Mr. Billy. Oh, they've set a great attacking position on the field. Auckland FC 6 to Wellington Phoenix 1. That is one-sided though. I half-by read that without actually thinking about what I had said, but big time. Who's second five for the Blues? In this game, they have got AJ Lamb. And he's going head-to-head with Timothy Tavatavanawai. So two really dangerous ball runners going at each other. Now Finley Christie. That's gone down now. Back across. Oh, nicely done by Harry Plummer to shuffle it on quickly. But Rieko Ioane once again finds himself under all sorts of pressure. Back into the pocket. Bowden Barrett going for the little chip off the left boot. Couldn't get through, and Palau Pakatava is there to now try and get the own 50-22. There's a raining in Dunedin, Hammy. Not that I know of, but if it was, it wouldn't matter, seeing as the stadium has a roof. That one's going to be kicked in a touch. It's going to be the line out. Can't blame the rain for poor handling. There's a roof. And, well, that's mean, says Reflecting Trees. And Talia, another talent of note, says Ruth. Yeah, there's a lot of great players throughout these two sides. One of them, of course, get a lot more recognition for their strong players, that being the Blues. A lot more All Blacks across there, but a few up-and-comers for the Highlanders. Could find themselves in contention later on this year. Currently in possession for the Landers. Tenuelu Talia goes on the outside. Now to Caleb Tangitau, well defended by Mark Talia. Tangitau, he has got pure pace. So what the hell, they keep knocking on the ball? Like, of course, there will be a little bit of slipperiness out there because they would have watered the field at some point, but at the same time, you know, it is a bit surprising with the amount of drops. Tavatavanawai curving towards the sideline, gets the ball on the inside. Withy goes to Sam Gilbert. Tangitau, long way off his wing. Slightly obstructed by Ioane when he tried to join that breakdown. Fakatava going back infield to Fabian Holland, crawling up to the 22. Fakatava, pick and go again. Nice step from Mitchell Dunshay. Bumps off Papali'i. Now another pick and go from the replacement tight head. Fabian Holland. Pick and go. I think Nick Berry just finding out where that advantage would be going back to, but Fakatava, Highlanders not planning on using it. Instead, oh no, good steal from AJ Lamb, and they'll go back for the penalty. Have you had to rate pure power, Hamish, on a scale of 1 to 100? What would your percentage be here? So pure power for the players or pure power for me? Because if we're doing a 1 to 100 for me, it's probably like a 3 in terms of power. But, I mean, there's been a lot of physicality early on in this match. Some big hits coming in from both sides. And it looks like the Highlanders are actually going to opt for the 3 here. You eaten it yet? I have not, no. Not quite enough time in between those last two live streams to get anything. Plus, we were scheduling the URC and the Six Nations games that we are covering on the channel as well. So, yeah, never really got the chance to get anything of any extent organised. Fakatava got to steal the ball, says Ruth. Well, we will go like this. We will go like that as well. Now, chance to line this one up. It will be Sam Gilbert. Now, that was one of the crucial mistakes that the Highlanders actually made last year. They decided to stop Gilbert from kicking, instead went with Cam Miller, and that seemed to just be the 1 or 2 points that they would have needed, but Gilbert gets it down the middle, and 21 minutes in, 7 points to 3 in favour of the Blues still. And players on the field, yeah, we've started with a bit of physicality. Like, we've seen some sore shoulders already. I think Dalton Papali'i is struggling a little bit. Right, that sounded like the change. So Sefil Kautai here stayed out there on the field. That is for Seulamahu, who sounds like he has failed his HIA. I call these games feast for the eyes, beautiful stuff. Jamie Joseph, Highlanders coach, good for New Zealand Rugby, says JD. Now Fakatava rolling it back again. Does kick it high, almost charged down by Lachlan McWonnell. Nice take on the halfway line from Harry Plummer. Christie back across to Ricky Riccatelli. Offload to Tui Pelotu. Offloads to Satutu, who decides that he wants to kick the ball straight down the throat of Finn Hurley, who sends one back, and it has gone out on the full. Well and truly overcooked that one. Fish fingers, eggs, and gin ramen noodles for a snack for me, says Matthew. Finn Hurley not happy with that kick, as it now puts them back just outside of their own 22. But yeah, Seulamahu, he looks like he's fine. Like, in terms of, like, he still seems like he's talking. He's happy enough, but it was just that crunching of his neck. So perhaps either the HIA failed, or maybe as he was off there doing the HIA, he went, oh, my neck's actually a bit sorer than I thought it was. Bit of a miscommunication there for the Blues. But now Harry Plummer bursts through, gets it away to Papali'i. They're only going to be 10 metres out from the line now. Finley Christie goes off. Great offload, and Bowden Barrett scores it between the sticks. Looks like Tava Nawai isn't looking too flash either after that contact. Neither is Bowden Barrett. He got slapped around all over the place as he was trying to score. Might have to go off for an HIA too. He's kind of doing that eye blinking that happens when you get rocked. It was supposed to go to Hoskins Atutu, who did not get to it in the end off the back of the line out. Harry Plummer, though, great offload to Dalton Papali'i. And then we're going to see it here. Pop pass up from Satutu, then Bowden Barrett. Yeah, unfortunately just got whacked a little bit, and then Tangitel tried his best not to land on him. And Bodie is on point today in All Black. Says reflecting trees. And Bowden Barrett converts, making the score now 14 points to 3. Like I've just said, looking a little bit ginger as he made his way back up to his feet, Bowden Barrett. But he looks like he's going to be all right. Going to see it now. He just gets smacked around pretty much, I think is the best way of describing it. Tenuelo Talia was a bit slow getting up to his feet too. Bowden should have been captain rather than his younger brother. You see, he's had like co-captaincy at times, Bowden Barrett, with Xavier and at one point I think Smith was his other co-captain. A blowout incoming, says Drape. Hopefully not. Hopefully it is relatively close, but a great start to the match for the Blues. I say start, but it's 25 minutes. Looks like a bit of wrestling going on in the background, so Tutu gave up his back by the looks of that. Now Finley Christie goes off to the left-hand side. Rush defence on Suafor. Still manages to find the offload. Rush defence on Bowden Barrett, who gets slapped down by Tava Nawai. The ball is loose, but picked up by McWonnell. And up and away, Bowden takes those hits very well. Says Ruth. Although not the kind of hit that you want to take too often, I don't think. As a fullback. How do you keep your voice from not cracking on these long stream weekends? Honestly, I don't know. Like, I drink the occasional bit of water just to try and help it. But, you know, for the weekend, we're into about our probably 10th, 11th hour of live streaming in the past about 24 hours. And we've still got another about 16 to go. Maybe not quite that much, maybe like 14 or so. I just want to shout out to my missus for making me a good dinner, says Pushpig. What did she make you? It's a big question. Looks like a player down and back play. That is Cameron Suafor, who has stayed down. So for now, the Blues are playing with just the 14. Harry Plummer goes across to Bowden Barrett, who changes the direction because he saw that they were attending to Suafor. I'm on my race to 10 points bet, says Judah. Our throat lubricants are important, says Mr. Billy. And also we have got their Highlanders midfielder, their raving about Fijian guy. Is he the man? So that is Timothy Tavatanawai. He is a very dangerous player. And hopefully he does have a relatively strong season for the Landers. But he'll just run the ball hard. He'll get your turnovers and the breakdown. Very similar to some of these guys coming from the sevens. And make sure you remember to eat in between games, says Judah. We sometimes get a half by little snacking. It's going to be slapped back by Tenuelu Talia, but it goes into touch and line out on the halfway line for the Blues. We have got there, how's it? Cuz, says Spider. And we have got there doing well the basics. 6 tries for Tenuelu Talia throughout his career. honestly, if he wore an NRL kit, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. He looks like he would actually slot in very nicely. Is it possible for Rico to get any worse? I don't actually know if it's, like, he hasn't done too much right in the last 12, 24 months. Like, every once in a while, he has one match, though, that you're like, oh, he's back. And then he disappears again. It's going to be the ball for the Blues now. On off to the left-hand side, so Tutu drops his head. Once again, they hold him up and try and drive him a little bit backwards. Seems to be the tactic for him, maybe running a little bit too high early. Ethan de Groot had his pants pulled down. Gets them back up. Now Tangitao waiting for it. Knew that he had time. Got away from Mark Delia, but Renata is there to make that next tackle. I'm impressed with the Blues, says Ruth. Now back into the pocket. It is taken back, so this one cannot go out on the full, but Tane Robinson gets a fair chunk of that one. Into the 22 for the Blues. Bowden Barrett now looking to run it back. Kicking off the left. Finds a bit of space. Sits up for Finn Hurley. Runs round the outside. A lot of pace. Grubbers it downfield, but the foot was just in touch. I think they can take it quickly if they wanted to, but they decide against it. I'm impressed with the Blues. Up the lander, says Ella Ferguson. Close, says Ruth. Very close to sneaking down the wing there. Finn Hurley. Thrown in, nicely done by the Blues. Harry Plummer not afraid to run it hard at the big men, going straight at de Groot, of all people. And back across to Tutu, running a little bit lower that time. I feel like he's made that minor adjustment to make sure that he doesn't get held up. Cameron Suafua, look for the offload. It's going to be knocked on by McWannell. The Highlanders back with the ball. Was that McKenna? Yes, it was, who was taking the kick. I had to second guess myself for a second there, but no, the hooker for the Highlanders kicks it downfield. Bowden Barrett says, hey, I'll show you how to kick it. Gives it an extra 20 metres or so, but Finn Hurley tries the little chip in behind, nonchalant about it. Finley Christie misreads, and Hurley down the wing scores the try. Massive defensive error from the Blues, and Hurley, with a bit of X factor, gets the Highlanders back into the game. But one of the most casual chips in behind that you will see, Finn Hurley, he looked like he was in a library just reading a book. The way that he was just, oh yeah, I'll just kick it forward and see what happens. Looked like he was gonna, just a little chip, not even looking like he cared. Bounce of the ball goes round Finley Christie, then not able to get the ankle tap at the back. Are you right about that? Rico needs a lot of set moves in the back line to get his creativity back quicker. And Lander, says Nathan Johnson, getting around the outside of... Was that Rico who tried the ankle tap? I'm not even sure who that was. Maybe Caleb Clark, but whoever it was, they didn't even really get that close to him. Most points for all time. Sam Gilbert currently sitting third. Great works. He backed himself. You beauty, mate. It looks like, what Amy, the truth is, it was Jin, says Spider-Man. Wouldn't that be a plot twist? 11 to score, says Drape. But yeah, great work from Finn Hurley. He was close to being able to run down that wing just before, but just backs the pace. No, it was Harry Plummer who tried to stretch out. Didn't even get that close. Christie disappointed with his effort. Misread the bounce. Wrong-footed. Now the Highlanders back in it, sitting 8 points to 14. I will mention that kick missed from Sam Gilbert, to unable to add the extra 2. Amazing steal by Hurley, like a bouncing tiger, says Ruth. 25 metres out. In fact, they're going to bring it back into their 22 here. I don't think this is allowed to go out on the full. Tied by Fakatava. Chasing after this one as Sam Gilbert tries to slap it back, but Harry Plummer has done brilliantly to keep it on the side of the away team. Bowden Barrett to Leah is there, ready for a pick and go. Right next to the breakdown. Wonder who they've got out on his wing. It looks like it's Dalton Papali'i while he is next to the breakdown. Now, Finley Christie going back into the pocket to Harry Plummer. He will go high. Oh no, there's AJ Lamb running in off the wing. Doesn't get possession. Papali'i jumps up like he's in the AFL. Now the ball's up again. Knock on from Tavanawai. A bit scrappy there for both of the teams, but eventually the Blues get the scrum. Can't miss those, especially against the Blues, says Reflecting Trees. Oh, no, sorry. It's actually going to be a knock-on first. Oh, this isn't good for Caleb Tangitau. Looks like he may have landed awkwardly. Taking some very deep breaths at the moment. We're going to see it now. He just kind of flapped the ankle around like it was a rudder. That's not good for Caleb Tangitau. It looks like he's going to continue, though. It could have been a lot worse for him. It's all good. Caleb Tangitau. Now ready for another maybe chance on the short side. Forbes at 15, B&B. Or Bowden Barrett, I think that is, at 10. Plummer at 12. AJ Lamb at 13. Rico at 23 for the wing. Says Lee. Now, it's gone straight down at scrum time. It has been quite the battle between the group and Marcel Renata. And come on the Highlanders, says James Speed. He's still jumping around on it. Our talent list is this Plummer, says 2 meter systems. Is that like satire? Or is it like a serious statement? Because obviously you're just basing it off that missed tackle and not what he's done up till that point, I assume. I would love to see Bowden at 12 in the All Blacks, says Reflecting Trees. And please Highlanders win, says Bird. Now it's going to be a scrum feed. So about 45 metres out. Love Plummer, love Dalt, says Elise. Now the Highlanders. If they score now and convert, they would actually be in the lead. And knock knock, who's the Harry Potter? He's, of course, probably playing for the Western Force. Is he still at the Force? Who's the Blues fullback? It is Bowden Barrett for this matchup. Now Hugh Renton goes over the top of Finley Christie. Papali almost got the turnover, but now it's going to be an advantage in the Landers' favour again. And they will go back for the penalty. A has done nothing before or during this match. Do you know what he looks like? It's probably the best question. Like, Plummer's one of those guys, like the All Blacks. He could have been shooting into that 10 jersey when they were having a couple problems there. We'll have a quick look and see what it says in the stats for his numbers in this match, just out of curiosity. And Papali doing good. AB's got numbers on number 8. An open and blindside flanker. So far in this game, other than, of course, the couple nice passes that have led to tries, what else have we got for Caleb Tangitau? Or not Caleb Tangitau, sorry, Harry Plummer. Do they still do the individual stats for Super Rugby website? They used to, but now I don't know if they've still got them. Highlanders. What do we got here? We can click on a certain player. Right, this doesn't look good for Caleb Tangitau, by the way. It looks like he is going to struggle. Right, let's see if we can just have Harry Plummer's information. Is that a thing that they allow? So far, he's had 12 passes. He's gained 30 metres. He's beaten 2 defenders. But, of course, other than that, in only the first, 30-something minutes, which, just in comparison, we'll look at someone like a Rico Ioane, who has had, he's had 1 clean break, to be fair to Rico, and 42 metres as a centre. That's what you want. And not bad, says Reflecting Trees. Yeah, that's some pretty decent stats there. He missed 1 tackle. But other than that, he's made a lot of passes from that 12 jersey, linking up nicely with Bowden Barrett. Now, Tanuelu Talia. And those few extra metres here again. 5 metres out from the 22. Sawane Vakina. Tackled low by Papali'i. Now Talia out wide. Bowden Barrett trying to tackle Tangitau. That's going to hurt the legs. Right. They had to release him. It's not out its momentum. So I think it's going to be a Blues line out now. It sounded like a little bit of confusion there for the referee as well as the players. The Plummer's still at the Blues. He is until, I believe he's going to France at the end of the season. Okay, Jeff Wilson once again saying it is unfortunate for the Highlanders. Is Plummer still at the Blues? Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And Clark at 13 for the ABs would be wicked. Probably playing good. And Scottish fight back started. Plummer needs some haggis. Now it's the 2-2. Ball 22 metres out. I feel like if you were going to find haggis anywhere in New Zealand, Dunedin's probably one of the hot spots. It was partially charged on Finlay Christie's kick. He's not happy about it though. Just rubbing the head of Sawani Vakina, his old teammate. Highlanders will have the throw. Just feel like in these closing moments of the half, if the Highlanders can break through and they can get themselves a try somewhere along the lines, they are more than in this contest. But the biggest thing will be, don't concede. Falau Fakatava straight through the gap, passes off, and now Bowden Barrett, last-ditch defensive effort, managing to drag down Lasanga, Timothy, Tava Nawai, Sawani Vakina, running straight at Rico Ioane. Now Fakatava again goes across Tava Nawai. He's always going to be heavily involved at this stage. Bounce pass out wide. Toonga Fussy says it's forward. The Highlanders say it's a try, and that will make it just a little bit closer at halftime. I believe the All Blacks will go undefeated in 2025. Bold prediction, very bold. Finley needs a break from rugby and get serious. Here's Lee C. But Falau Fakatava sold the dummy, went through the gap. And Bowden Barrett, great bit of work from him. Be able to make those last-ditch tackles, and yeah, Toonga Fussy asking for it to be forward. It's definitely flat. And malo to all the Usos says James there. Right, we're just trying to listen to Nick Berry there. What did he say there? I had it back off blue. I think we are so back. Says Bird, and now it's an opportunity to add the extra 2 for Sam Gilbert right next to the touchline. And good game here, folks. And Gilbert, oh, it's just going to miss away to the left. Wouldn't quite come back enough, but 90 seconds remaining in the half, and it's currently just 1 point difference between these two teams. That's something we've seen quite often throughout today between the Hurricanes and the Fijian drawer. Wahoo. You're simply brilliant. Thanks. Great start to a Saturday Cape Town morning, says Ruth. Yep, good grinding game, says Drape. And that's going to be a penalty going the way of the Blues. That is for obstruction. And right now they've got the chance. Do they want to go for the 3? Or do they want to go once again for the corner? The corner, I believe, is the better option here. I just hope the ABs win the test match against the Box at Eden Park, says Bushpig. They are just showing the rule there. It is an obstruction. Kick escort is another name for it. Now Plummer kicking it towards the touchline. About as perfect as it could have been. 5 metres out from the line now. Chance again. Our Scottish Fling Highland coming back now, says Ruth. And 7 better than 3, says Spider Meek. Now, line out chance here. Oh, Ricky Riccatelli, he couldn't hear the throw. Or he couldn't hear the call anyway. A lot of time being used up here for this line out, but now claimed by Lachlan McWannell. I've gone backwards once. It's already being told to use it. Told to use. Ricky Riccatelli breaks off the back. A lot of players in the way. Finlay Christie's playing around with Sawani Vakina, who were going back and forth earlier on. What's George up to these days? He's doing quite a bit of working. We had him on the Rugby 25 videos not too long ago. Now off at Toonga Fussy. Still 6 metres out. He's dropped that ball. Tava Nawai wins the penalty for the Highlanders. Finlay Christie, I think he was yelling at Suafu and Tui Pilotu, pretty much saying, where were you? The Blues can be very bad, says Bushpig. And absolutely agree with you. Lovely evening, sunshine settling in. They're going to take the quick tap and kick this ball into touch, and a 1 point difference between these two sides at halftime as well. My German friend Sonia coming to take me shopping in an hour, so I'll see this match out, guys. Says Ruth. Yeah, 10 points, 13 points to 14. The home side down by 1. I just hope there are no World Wars before the Rugby Championship this year. Do it after. So here's Drape. Overall, other than, I think we saw one injury, I want to say, in that first half. Tangi Tau's a bit 50-50, whether or not he will be able to continue throughout the rest of the contest. You've also got the early one of Seula Ma'u, ended up hurting his neck, so 2 injuries here for the Highlanders just at this point. Few. There's PSG. Then for the Blues, I don't think they've had anyone go off that I can think of. Blues should win by 10 or 15. There's Matthew. Time to visit Gwen with some flowers. There's Spider Mick. Second half, not a mile away from taking place. Go the Highlanders. Says other side of the fence. And good, we're blessed with awesome weather. Looking through at the benches, like I mentioned, we have already seen the one change for the Highlanders off their bench, and that is Sasefo Kautai making his way on for the injured Seula Ma'u. Then also they have got Taylor, they've got Leonard Brown, Stoddard, Broughton, Hasty Miller, and also Nayata. I would assume they would ideally not want to use anyone else until maybe around that 55-minute mark. Daniel Leonard Brown, I think he'll be keen to come on for De Groot at some point in time, but just not yet. In terms of the Blues, they have got the experience of Angus Ta'aval. They've got Taufa Funaki, Corey Evans, Cole Forbes, all men that can bring quite the impact. Adrian Cho at number 20 as well, with Fusitua in the props. We have got their bad to miss conversion at your own indoor stadium, says Anoi, and down by 1 at halftime again. And also go the Highlanders. And also Blues very average so far this season, says Nathan Johnson. Yeah, they haven't quite found their rhythm, but that does not mean once they do find it that they won't be a very tough side to beat. JJ has made the Landers pumping, says Reflecting Trees. I feel bad as I'm a big Landers supporter but don't know the players, says Bushpig. To be fair, they've had a lot of changes in recent times in terms of this Highlanders side. Like, you've lost the experience of someone like an Aaron Smith, who so many people were completely used to seeing. Jonah Nariki, he's injured, another guy that kind of was pretty well known for them. Of course, when you look further back, you've got the likes of Liam Squire, Waisaki Naholo. He became a bit of a cult hero down in Dunedin. And then you've also got Malakai Feketoa Sopawanga in there too, back in the old days. Ash Dixon, a bit more recent than that, in terms of his Highlanders days. And come on, Highlanders unlucky last week, says John. And who's winning this game now? At the moment, it is 1 point different between these two sides. And I'll be 25. Gee, I'm getting old, says Spider-Me. 25 is not too bad, though, speaking from experience. And Legends Amish says Elise C. And it looks like we are going to have a nail-biter of the second half, says Matthew. It does look that way. And currently, the way that the table sits, both of these sides chasing points, because the Blues currently sitting, well, they were in dead last, and I believe that is the way that they will stay just for now, until, of course, they do get the win or some sort of bonus point. But in terms of the Highlanders, they are sitting currently in 8th, as the Hurricanes have been promoted up into that 7th spot. But there is still work to be done. If the Highlanders were somehow able to win this game, they have the potential of moving all the way up to 3rd place currently. Whereas if the Blues win this game, at best, if they get themselves the bonus point, they could actually find themselves in 3rd in the overall standings. But a bonus point might be hard to come by, these two sides going back and forth with it. And ice on you, says JD. And I like these close humdinger games. My nails are gone, says Ruth. Yeah, there'll be a lot of nervous people watching these second halves. Pretty much throughout every Super Rugby game, at least today, it's been close. Hopefully the Brumbies Western Force will be a little bit the same, and it does go right down to the wire too. But they are just showing that first try. Finley Christie scoring it in the 3rd minute of the match. It was off that rolling maul, which can be such a dangerous element of the Blues game. And yeah, Finley Christie just seeing that gap and being able to score. How are you, bro? Says Nasoni. Doing very well. Hopefully you are well also. We've got plenty of rugby still coming up, so it is a very good day. URC, Lions versus Bulls, we will be covering in around 5 hours' time. Then after that, 2 games of the Six Nations, and then back into the Sevens straight after the Six Nations concludes. So plenty more coming up on the channel. So be sure anyone who is new to hit that subscribe button. What's your star sign, Hamish? I'm a Sagittarius, I believe. I think. When the Landers are playing awesome, the All Blacks are killers. Says Reflecting Trees. Who's your man of the match in the drawer? Oh. See, if Karifi hadn't got the yellow card, he would have been definitely right up there. I think that the youngster in the 10 jersey, Harry Godfrey, there we go. I think he was very strong, so he probably was my man of the match. Possession and territory, both in favour of the Highlanders. Meters made 400. And then we have seen 343 from the Blues. And then got a little bit of a dance party by the looks of it at halftime, having a bit of a boogie. Waiting for the second 40 to start. Hamish's star sign is a goat, says Drape. There you go. Joey Wheeler, 61 matches for the Highlanders, 115 matches for the Blues for James Parsons. Those two will be going back and forth, of course, about who they think is going to be able to win this game. But overall, just very entertaining first half. Neither of these sides taking the backward step. And they're just showing some of the highlights of Beauden Barrett throughout that first half. He made 50 metres, had 179 kicking metres, and carried the ball 9 times. Also managed to score himself the try and some great defensive effort from Barrett as well. Is the MLR in USA any good? Depends on how you look at it. Like, it's a different style to what we're seeing for Super Rugby, but there are a lot of Southern Hemisphere guys who have gone over. Like, a lot of the times you'll see a team and you'll go, oh, that's where that guy's ended up. Like, you'll see random veterans from the old Super Rugby comps and international teams all scattered throughout. So it can be very entertaining to watch. Tava Nawai. He has made 37 metres throughout this match. Take Randall, says Jim. Or take Randall, I think that is. Ruth, that sounds delicious. I love a nice spicy chicken curry, says Matthew. Oh, there's the first voice crack. Hopefully it's not leaving us. We've still got a lot to go today. Like I said, just 6 hours of rugby union coming around the corner. And then alongside that, a lot more extra rugby taking place for the Sevens, and then the Six Nations on Monday night we are going to be covering on the channel as well. And the Blues score first try. They did indeed, and it was Finley Christie who managed to score it in the 3rd minute of the contest. And Landers should have thrown the bank at Beauden to get him, says Reflecting Trees. And 32 points, second half, says Najakat as the prediction. It's not that bad, Hammy. My star sign is a pair of stank fishes. Lovely. Mum made me a pompano sandwich, Hamish. I told you, you did indeed. You told me that it was expensive and that it was like a golden fish. So, yeah, hopefully you are thoroughly enjoying it. Now, second half, not too far away from starting up. The Zoo are very loud at the moment by the looks of it. They are excited for the second half, and they would like nothing more than to see another try early on for their Highlanders. And boxing tonight, what time, says Mr. Billy? I'm actually not sure. I know that Joseph Parker is fighting from what I've heard, but I'm not actually sure what time that has taken place. But by the sounds of it, tomorrow morning for us here in New Zealand. What happened to that guy from the TAB? Whatever happened? Which one are you talking? Like, Israel Dag was just doing the TAB update there, and they've had John Arfoa for another game earlier today, I saw. But which one are you talking about? They are just showing the try highlights that we've had throughout this game. Already been some outstanding play from both sides. But it's going to come down to the second 40, and whoever finds more momentum. But the thing is, the last 5 minutes has determined so many games of Super Rugby already, so this one might be no different. And thanks, Pisces, that's me fishy, says Ruth. Yeah, do let me know who you guys think will be the second half first try scorer. Joseph Parker pulled out. He's a coward. Wasn't he sick or something? Like, it was a very late pullout, but wasn't he unwell? He was a regular TAB guy for years, says David the Mod. Yeah, I honestly don't know where he ended up. I read that one, didn't I? But second half getting close. Of course, later on tonight, there is also Brumbies versus Western Force. We won't be covering that one on the channel, but we will be covering plenty of other action throughout the night in terms of the Super Rugby comp next week, though. Of those games, we are hoping to cover at least 3 or 4. Probably 3, I would say, just with schedule. So Moana Pacific are playing the Highlanders. That is on Friday night. And then for the Blues, they are playing on Saturday night up against the Hurricanes. So that will be another big game. Of course, they will want to get the win for. I like the Landers to win, but may the best man win, says Moa Hunter. Yeah, second 40 is going to be so crucial. And at the moment, we saw over 400 metres, or just 400, I believe, for the Highlanders, and then 320 or so for the Blues. So both of these sides know how to run the ball. They've beaten plenty of defenders. A few missed tackles along the way, which opens up opportunities. Yeah, it will just be an interesting second 40 minutes. Get some of the strangest ads here in New Zealand. We talked about it earlier on about how many food ads we would get throughout the 24 hours of commentating, though. Tangi Tau, excuse my spelling, score in the second half. If his ankle is all right, then I think he's got a decent chance. But I believe that they might end up taking him off at halftime. That England versus France Six Nations game was epic, says David the Mod. It certainly was. And today we get to see England versus Scotland, which hopefully will live up to expectations as well. And then the first contest, Wales versus Ireland. First game under the new coach for the Welsh. So, could either go very good or very badly. And I mean, it can't go, to be honest, it sounds harsh, but it can't go much worse. New Zealand Sevens doing well. They're 1 win, 1 loss. At the moment, they were able to beat the Australians, but they were not able to beat South Africa. Lost by 2 points there. The next game is going to be up against the Irish, I believe, tomorrow morning. We are also hoping to cover that one on the channel too. In fact, we've got our whole schedule somewhere in terms of the sevens. The quarterfinals are taking place tomorrow afternoon. In terms of tomorrow morning for the sevens, it's Spain versus Fiji at 7:52 a.m. Then New Zealand versus Ireland at 8:14 a.m. South Africa versus Australia at 8:36 a.m. And then more than likely we will have to stay up until around 9:45 just so that I can see exactly who's going to be playing in the quarters, and then I'll be able to make those live streams, schedule them, and then we will end up getting maybe 2 hours sleep, or I might end up just staying up, to be honest. We are watching you from Fiji, Hamish. Please say hi to us from Fiji. Welcome in. And yeah, great performance earlier on from the Fijian drawer. Got extremely close to being able to get themselves the win. But I don't think it's a mile off them picking up their first victory. And also Fiji doing all right in the sevens, winning both of their games comfortably. Next one's up against the Spanish. We're going to be covering those games onwards for Fiji too. I guess the Roses. Smells good. England versus Scotland, says JD. And also up the Highlanders, says James Speed. Imagine watching NFL. The majority of the time are beer ads, says David. And did you hear Brazil beat Aussie women? I did not hear that. But honestly, like, yes, it's a big shock. But I also would have to say, like, Brazil as a women's side are actually, you know, they're pretty handy. A little bit similar to someone like an Uruguay or a Spain on the men's circuit. They're just talking to Vern Cotter at the moment. And when motorhoming, we were always looking, Ruth, says Moa Hunters. And up the Landers, says Ben Rocks. Yeah, second 40 minutes, just about here. Let me know your in-score predictions, ladies and gents. I think that this game still has potential of being extremely close. Oh. That's a bit of a brutal comment there from, was James Parson. I mean, it was an honest one. In fact, no, sorry, that was Joey Wheeler. That makes more sense with that comment. So he pretty much said, you guys didn't score any points throughout the second 40 minutes. What have you done since last week that's going to improve it? What did you say to the team? So, Yeah, maybe that is on the mind of the Blues. Whereas the Highlanders, they scored about 4 or 5 tries in their second half, but they still didn't quite get the job done because they kept on conceding those tries as they were scoring them. But second half now underway. And he's a fisherman, got all these stank fish in there here, says Drape. At Olympics, surely the All Blacks backline is better than the Sevens, or is that a stretch? That's going to be now knock on early on from the Blues. Surely the All Blacks backline is better than the Sevens, or is that a stretch? Depends on how you look at it, because for the Sevens side of things, you're only really nominating 3 players as your backline, aren't you? What's up with Sky giving us biased commentary team, says Kiwi Rob. Well, I think it's a little bit to do with the fact that because they're from those clubs, they have more inside knowledge about the team, about the players, everything like that. But yeah, at the same time, you can get it a little bit one-sided at times. And 35-37 for the Landers, says Ben Rocks. We need McDonald's back. Oh, sorry, we need McDonald back, says Spider Mick. Now, ready to feed this ball in. Fakatava. Now going off to the right-hand side here. Good attack and run from Timothy Tavanawai. Tackled by Papali'i. Just told to get out of it. Now Mitchell Dunshay hits the ground hard. Fakatava. Driving run forward from, I believe it would have actually been Sasefo Kautai. No, Sawani Vakina. Look like a little bit of a half limp for Ethan de Groot at the moment. That could just be because of all the strapping that he's got in. Another penalty goes the way of the Landers. I think de Groot dropped Tui Pelotu afterwards. Tactical sub at half-time. So Lasung is off. And that sounds like Nicola Broughton, I believe, is on now. For the sub, right, they're going to take a shot at the post here for the Highlanders, which would actually give them a lead. You aren't going to beat the Blues in 3s, Landers, says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, although I think with just the timing of, when they're doing it, I think it's more so just to try and get that lead back and, of course, then try and build from there. But, yeah, they have to make sure this kick goes over, or else they will be very much so regretting this choice. Gilbert sitting 1 from 3 tonight. Yes, Kiwi Rob. Landers are going to win, says Ben Rocks. And the kick is good. Nicola for AB's XV at least. I mean, Broughton looks like he's going to be a bright talent in the future. Everyone fighting over the rugby ball by the looks of it in the stands. As Clark playing says reflecting trees. He is. He has hardly touched the ball, though. Been waiting patiently for it. And up the Landers, says Ben Rocks. Now, Daniel Leonard-Brown is on the field for Ethan de Groot. I mentioned how he looked like he had a bit of a limp developing. So I think that's more of a strategic one, just to make sure that he's not injured. Nick Berry is a biased referee, says Kiwi Rob. Biased in whose favour? Like the Highlanders you're saying in this match, or against the Blues? Or for the Blues? Which one? Now it's going to be back of White, back again from Rico. Struggled to grab it first crack all throughout today. I was on Nicola. Did I hear Lance? Wait, who are you saying? I think it was Nicola Broughton. Nakora, sorry, rather than Nicola. But he is on the field. Wait, what were they saying before? I think they've said a sub that hasn't actually happened. Nayata is on the field. Who was that for, though? I think that's for Tangi Tau. They mentioned earlier on the number 7, Lasunga's name, but he, I believe, is actually... Oh, no, sorry. Okay, we've got it now. We've worked it out. Lasunga has gone off, and Nayata has gone on as a forward replacement, even though he's got number 23 on his back. There we go. We've got the roundabout way towards it. Amos3 is on. Fullback in. Why did Kiwi rob me for my sandwich? Joking, mate. Says JD. And let's go, says Ella Ferguson. In terms of the reserves, the bench for the Blues has been unbroken at this point. They still have the 8 options to bring on later on. Okay, sorry, Lol, says Rape. Now, ready to feed the ball in for Falau Whakatava. How's the tides turned? Or how the tides turned on the Canes side earlier. Roygaard really steps up. Says Rock. And a nice pass, Finn Hurley. We know how much pace he's got. He's got around Finley Christie again. He's going to have nightmares about that man. Tangitau, what an offload. Oh, but they're going back. They say he's in touch. The flag was up. A confident call from the assistant here. Damon Murphy. You want to make sure you see the replay and see this ball go out here, or else you'd be pretty nervous. But what a finish that would have been. Right, we're going to see the replay now for Tangitau. Oh, yeah, he was in touch. Well spotted. But tell you what, that was going to be a finish and a half and a real wake-up call here for the Blues again. Or did you have a dinner, Hamish? I have not had it as of yet. And Lucky Blues says other side of the fence. And Crowd Not Happy says no, Mum. Yeah, although in the replay, they don't really have much that they can complain about for it. His foot was out on the line. Yeah, it would have definitely been a try of the season contender. A couple of the fancy offloads. Finn Hurley is just causing Finley Christie so many troubles throughout this match. Great low tackle by Caleb Clark as well. Actually managed to push him out in the end. Finn Hurley certainly making a bit of a name for himself. Thrown into the back. Now to Mofi Tavanawai goes off to Tenuelu Talia, shut down by AJ Lamb. Finds his offload to the Mofi Tavanawai again. Fends off 4 in a row, but Clark is there to wrestle him down again. Rico wanting the turnover. Almost had the penalty, but wasn't on the ball. Says Nick Berry. Finley needs to work on his defense, says Matthew. Finley Christie, man, he just not that guy. And Blues should be in 5th gear. Come on, boys. Bang it down. Nice take under the high ball from Bowden Barrett. Have you got a Fanta in the fridge? I have not, no. I might need some sort of energy by the end, though, but we'll just see how far the water gets us. From now, we've still got another probably 16 hours or so of being awake. Oh, maybe less than that. Maybe it's not that bad. About 18 hours. No, that's more. 14 hours, I should say, of being awake. And involved in that will be about 9 hours of commentary. Now Hoskins a 2-2. Back across to the left-hand side. Lachlan McWano goes to Bowden Barrett. Another offload to Tui Palotu. And told to get out of it there for Fabian Holland. Christie goes across to Cameron Sewer for offloads it to Ricky Riccatelli. Replace Christie. So they have got Taufafu Naki that they could bring off the bench. He's going already for folks, says Reflecting Trees. Rico Ioani's son, why are you playing like this? It's your debut match, says JD. Now Christie. Back across to the right. Harry Plummer putting it high. Talia's going to be right in the right position for this. No. Does make a good tackle though and strips him of the ball. And I like Sam Knox, says Lee. And I Hamish, long time to chat to you. Like your commentary's just great, says Kevin. Welcome back, mate. Hope you are keeping extremely well. Plummer with a nice pass. Goes across to Bowden Barrett. Goes on the outside to Caleb Clark. Gets through. Runs around the outside of Cameron Suafoa. Tries the grubber and they'll go back for the initial Blues penalty again. And now we're in a predicament. Because 3 points here would give the Blues the lead. But are they going to go for the 7 instead? Is there a link here to watch live, please? Sadly not. Depending on where you are in the world will depend on your options. But the Super Rugby website has a list of where you can watch the games depending on what country you're in. Yeah, a bit of a late shot from Hugh Renton there. Not necessary on Ricky Riccatelli. Now, Blues once again turning down the 3 to try and turn it into 7. Harry Plummer gets it out. Be about 15 metres from the line. Come on, Christie. Get your stuff together, dude, says Drape. Yeah, he's left a lot of defensive holes throughout this match so far. And Kahunas says reflecting trees. Yeah, it's either going to be a great plan or it's going to be a downfall for the Blues. 2 points could fit a pin in there. A woohoo roof aims to the best, gets us cranked up. Says Moa Hunters. Thrown in by Ricky Riccatelli. 30 minutes left, so plenty of time to work. Ricky Riccatelli is hanging on to this one at the back. 17 has to get out of it. Daniel Leonard-Brown popped his head up as if he was a little bit confused by that call. Just the rolling ball still creeping forward. It's going to be something that the Blues try and use all season, and they've milked the advantage for it as well. Just going to keep on walking forward. Hopefully we get to... No, it's just going to keep on going. And Ricky Riccatelli should fall over. And he's got the grounding as well. It's not the prettiest try. It's not the most entertaining, but it sure is effective for the Blues. Walking that one forward about 15 metres. And eventually getting over the try line. That seems to have really sucked the air out of the crowd. Only a couple of Blue supporters clapping that one too. They weren't happy with it. They wanted the back line. And cranked up. We get the butt kick, wake up, and Ricky says Lee there, and try, says David the Mod. Just continuing to go forward. And then eventually getting it over just had a November, or had an op in November. They got the cancer all out, just to let you know. So that is great news for you, Kevin, that it is all gone. And not a gorgeous try, but it's a try, says Spider-Man. Yeah, it's one of those tries that you look at and you go, it's 5 or it's 7 points, but you don't watch too many replays of it, if that makes sense. Hamish told you aren't going to beat the Blues in 3, says Kiwi Rob. Never know why he never got called up to the ABs, or at least the ABs XV. Yeah, it was a real surprise, to be honest, that he didn't get selected. Oh, Bowden just had to clarify how many seconds he had remaining. See himself on the big screen. And does get it over again. Strong at the moment for Bowden Barrett. The Blues now leading 21 points to 16. And there your roof says, Kevin. All right, Nakora Broughton, he makes his way on. And Josh Fusitua onto the field for Ofa Tuangafasi. Too much replay, says JD. Nicely taken by Patrick Tuipilotu. Kicking this one high, Finley Christie. Down towards the halfway line. Claimed by the youngster Tane Robinson. Finn Hurley. Gonna boot it up high again. Harry Plummer back across to Bowden Barrett. Those two have linked very nicely together throughout this match. Now kicked high again from Tane Robinson. Waiting for this one to come down. Christie drops it. It's a bit of an ear kick there from Fakatava. Didn't connect with it. And now Hoskins Satutu. He's been a little bit quiet throughout the last maybe 30, 40 minutes. And good news, Kevin. Says Moant is there too. Well, looks like Satutu is going to play halfback. Bowden Barrett taking a bit longer to get back to his feet. I think it's because he was being held down. Broughton trying to strip it away. Harry Plummer playing half. Goes back into the pocket to Bowden Barrett. Kicks that high and a little bit too deep, so it goes straight back into the hands of the Highlanders. Tenuelu Talia knocked backwards from his fumble. Hoskin will score. Watch this part of the field, says Lee. Well, Fabian Holland. It's been relatively quiet as well, with the exception of the line out. Sometimes you see him running that ball. Tane Robinson. Kicks it downfield again. Bowden Barrett waiting for it. He'll look for a 50-22 or at least a counter-attack. Here comes Harry Plummer. It's met by the wall of defence by the Highlanders. Finley Christie. Cameron Suafua. Christie again goes off to Bowden Barrett. Talia once again just not quite able to get there. A nice counter-attacking opportunity now. Caleb Tangi tail breaks through the tackle of AJ Lamb. Gets through Rico Ioane to Falam Fakatava. Beautiful offload to Finn Hurley. And that is another try now for the Highlanders. And how's the Zoos looking? Shout out to Harrison. It's looking relatively full at the moment, and they are going crazy for that try from the Highlanders. And Landers come on and tries these Moa Hunters, but Finn Hurley here is 2 tonight. Anyone who does Super Rugby Fantasy and whatnot, I'm sure that that's worth a few points, I would assume, for what he's been able to do. But Tangi Tau just gets down the wing, beats both centres for the Blues. Then Whakatava, perfectly timed pass to Finn Hurley up the Landers. Says other side of the fence. Great offload. A bit of a nothing kick downfield from Beauden Barrett that just gave the position straight back to the Highlanders. Beauden at his best, couldn't kick away the try the first time, so he tried again. Says to him systems. It seems to be that you really dislike the 10 and 15 combo that the Blues have this year. It would be a good game to be drinking at, says Annoy. And 23-28. Final score, says JD. Yeah, really great finish from the Highlanders. About 4 things had to go right for them to score that try, and every single one of them did. Well, someday up. Well, someday up. I feel like has that cut off, maybe. And good work, Blues will win. Oh, sorry, Hamish win Blues. And now pick and go. Tanuela Talia, they're going through again. Whakatava was waiting for it, but they couldn't quite link up. And the Blues, that was almost a steal in the breakdown. Bounce pass, Fabian Holland goes across to the left-hand side. This is reminding me of what happened between the Chiefs and the Crusaders. Oh, well summed up. See, okay, I get you. And Harry Potter doing well. Plummer, another All Blacks jersey, says Ruth. And up the Landers, says Ella. Yeah, currently a lead by 2 for this Highlanders side. Funaki onto the field for Finley Christ, who, with the exception of scoring that early try, has had a bit of a lackluster day. He's had quite a few defensive errors. Hurley is the man of the match. He's playmaker superhero. That's going to be dropped. And now, fumble from Whakatava, but he manages to regather. They put on just enough pressure in that one, the Highlanders, to be able to cause a fumble. Soane Vakena does the Artie Savia-likes kind of dummy sell, trying to jump on that ball for Angus Ta'aval. Not able to. Also would have probably been a penalty against him had he got it. Now Nakura Broughton. 10 metres out from the line here. Highlanders are well and truly having their tails up here. And go Highlanders. Barrett kicks away good position even when he plays for the All Blacks. And Chiefs and Crusaders, Hamish. Here's JD. Now off to the left-hand side, Taylor Robinson, skip pass out to Sam Gilbert. Every time there's a little bit of space, the crowd let out a massive cheer. And you can understand why, because at the moment their side are playing with some real intent. Oh, that's tough for Funaki, maybe dislocated shoulder, but the penalty does go the way of the Blues. I think there was maybe excessive force there. Oh, yeah, Taufa Funaki, he's kind of holding his arm, drooping it, which normally either means broken something in the forearm or the wrist, or it's a shoulder dislocation or a real bad stinger for Taufa Funaki anyway. Double flop at the right by the Blues. Says Annoy. And Barrett's kicking it is suck ass. And box supporters, biggest fear is the Kiwis playing Beauden Barrett permanently at 10. Keep up the confusing Kiwis, says Robert. And also we have got the Scottish Fighting Fling Highland coming. And this does not look good for Taufa Funaki. He's only just made his way off or onto the field. And now more than likely going to have to make his way off. Right, they're actually going to check this one for the clean out. It did look pretty brutal in live play. Right, here we go. So Taufa Funaki's there. Daniel Leonard-Brown kind of crunching the back of the neck of Funaki. It's the Highlanders. Are they going to try and make the argument that he couldn't go anywhere? It is shouldered to the back of the neck. This is going to be a yellow card, ladies and gents. And that is going to be, I would say, a big turning point in this game of Springbok watching Super Rugby online with commentary. Well done for keeping me in tune. Come on, the Highlanders, says Grant. Of course, we're going to be in action later on tonight with the URC. 2 South African sides going head-to-head. And the Bulls and the Lions. And then also the Blitzbox 7s we are covering tomorrow as well. But that is a big yellow card that they certainly could not afford to have. I've just said there, it is still going to be a penalty. But yeah, the main gist of it is he still hit him in the head. Super Rugby still shown live? I don't think so. I think it's a tricky one to find if you're in South Africa from memory. I could be wrong. Maybe it is on SABC, but I know that there was a little bit where licensing was a bit up in the air. Who's the best in that comp? Says Reflecting Tree. So at the moment, in terms of the URC, Leinster are at the top of the table. Then the sides that are lurking around that next spot is the likes of the Glasgow Warriors, the Vodacom Bulls, the Sharks are even up there just currently after getting themselves a big win over the Bulls last week. It is, but I'm stuck in Barcelona. Says Grant, who was yellow carded. It was Daniel Leonard-Brown, the man who was penalised for that one. Now Finlay Christie back out onto the field due to Taufafunaki having to make his way from it. Not a huge amount of distance on the kick of Christie. That looked like a knock-on from the Highlanders. Nick Berry says play on, though. We get Super Rugby here in South Africa. We pay our channel DSTV. Oh, okay, so they have got it on DSTV. Because that's also the same one as you get your URC and internationals, everything along those lines on. So it's kind of like the equivalent of Sky Sport, except by the sounds of it, more expensive. Landon's unlucky last week against the Tars, says Ed Smith. All Rugby's on DSTV. Most people can go somewhere to watch if they want to, says Robert. Is that free? No, it's quite expensive, which is why we have quite a few South Africans tuning in, week out. We are greatly appreciative of. It looks like they're about to make a change now. The youngster Taylor to make his way on, and also Adrian Choate is on the field for Cameron Suafua. Might be even another little bit of an injury here for one of the Highlanders players too. Right. This is interesting. So Broughton comes off. It sounds like it's going to be golden oldies, which pretty much means that there will not be any pushing at scrum time because of the injuries and the card. Well, it depends though, because if Sawani Vakina's secondary position is listed as a prop, they are allowed to still scrummage, I believe, but I don't think it would be. They're just waiting to find out if it is going to be a contested scrum. If it's not, it means that the Highlanders would actually be down to 13. But URC, as mundane rugby, cannot compare to Super Rugby, says to him, yeah, two different competitions. Absolutely love both of them. And always a lot of fun to cover both on the channel as well. Right, uncontested is the call. Right, Nick Berry trying to get everyone's attention. Right, so because it's uncontested, the Highlanders have to drop another player. They often get confused by that rule, but it is correct. So this is going to be 13 versus 15 for the next 8.5 minutes. If there's ever a chance for the Blues to win this game now, it's got to be here. Right, they still need 8 in the scrum as well. So you've gone uncontested because of the yellow card. So that is all down to that yellow as to why it is uncontested. I know that's why I listen on this channel. Says Grant, who is getting sent off. So Daniel Leonard-Brown was off for the yellow. Now they have to make another change. And I'm trying to work out who it actually is. Timothy Tavatavanawa is going to join the forward pack. They need an 8 as well. Okay. So they need 8 in the scrum. It's obviously more front on the bench, compulsory. Right, so they've got Sawani Vakina playing Lucy prop, but it's uncontested. So they've got 8 in the scrum, which looks like it's going to involve Falau Fakatava, is it? Okay, Nick Berry sounds like he's sick of it already with the first scrum playing golden oldies. Now in behind, nice pass from Plummer, goes to Bowden Barrett, a lot of space out wide for Mark DeLeo, who's been quiet throughout this match. Caleb Tangi Tau wrestles the ball off him as well, showing good physicality. Although it looks like it's still going to pop onto the side of the Blues. Yes, it does. And DeLeo led with the elbow, maybe. It did look like a forearm extended. Tangi Tau took it on the chin and still tried to drop him. Now, oh, great steal from Timothy Tava. He'll take the quick tap and go. Deciding to go for the kick, looking for the 50-22, and he's got it. What a play from Tava. That is incredible play from the individual. Got the turnover, takes the quick tap, does the 50-22, and puts his side back in the right position on the field. And that's going to use up more time of the 13 men on the field as well. So it's the perfect scenario. They can even choose which hook is going to throw it because they got two of them on the field. Ireland is going to be awesome, but that is a kick and a half and an individual brilliance from Tava Nawai. And it's also a complete game changer. Now, nicely taken by Fabian Holland. Now Tava Nawai does have the ball. Passing off to the right-hand side, it is Hasty, as we have seen Whakatava taken off. Now, Soane Vikina, if they can score with 13 on the field here for the Landers, which is not completely out of the question. They have shown time and time again how dangerous that backline can be, but they might not use it as much throughout this match. That was almost going to be a penalty advantage in favour of the Highlanders. They do have to release him. 18 minutes remaining. Tui Pelotu trying to get through there. And still Nikadek Hamish who's going to get it, or who's getting the last try and go the Southerners. Says Ed Smith. Now Hasty looking both ways. Decides to go off to the left-hand side. Sam Gilbert, good tackle in by Talaire, and that will be a clean steal now for the Blues, or at least it should have been, but they fell over it. No, they do still get it. Now Bowden Barrett inside of their own 22 now, looking to attack forward. Rico Ioane, inside ball to AJ Lamb. Great tackle made. And every play here is crucial for the Highlanders. They just have to try and wait for the Blues to make an error. Tava Nawai on it again, and he wins another penalty. Now, that one was a little bit closer to going in through the side, I do have to say, but he has won the penalty. And now, chance to kick for the three. He's pointing at the posts. Oh, it's such a close game and I don't like it. I don't know about rugby. How long is the game? So they've still got another 17 minutes remaining. Oh, Daniel Leonard-Brown, it's going to be upgraded to a red, so they are not just going to be playing golden oldies. For the rest of his yellow, I believe it will be for the rest of the game, unless the group can come back on, but he is also injured. So it's been upgraded to a red. High degree of danger. He won't be coming back on, so I'm not sure what that means for our scrums. I think that is going to be the case for the rest. So they'll be back to 15 with about 2 minutes remaining in this game. That was a rough clean out, to be honest. Yeah, it was a hard hit on Talfa Funaki on the back of his head and shoulder. Uncontested scrums for the rest of the game is the statement from Nick Berry. Oh no, 2 minutes left. They can then have someone come back on, but that is going to add 3 more points. Sam Gilbert bleeding out his nostrils. And BS says James. Jamie Joseph is the best coach in New Zealand, says John. This is going to be a nerve-wracking few moments. I would have wanted Tava Nawai to play for the draw in Super Rugby 2025. Oh, that's a loose ball, but knocked on by the Blues. This game went from 0 to 3,000 in a minute. And we have got there, didn't bet on it. My Scona 4 was 28 points to 23. So yeah, because of that injury of Ethan de Groot, it means that they aren't able to have anyone come back on as a prop. It was a dumb thing to do, Leonard Brown. Yeah, definitely because they were on attack at the time. Is that the first red for the weekend? Yes. Is it the first red of the Super Rugby comp as well? Now that I think about it, I think we've had a lot of yellows, but not many reds, so maybe that is the case. Yeah, it says James Speed. And come on, the Highlanders, says Moa Hunters. This is certainly going to test the home team here. W says Bird. And hang in there, Highlanders. Yeah, it's going to be a tough challenge, but the thing is, it's forced upon themselves because of that little bit of ill discipline. Bowden Barrett runs it hard, and Hurley manages to get rid of his opposite number. Back across. Lamb is off. Corey Evans is on. Been a lot of handling errors throughout this game for the Blues, though. They can't afford one now. So Tutu goes off to Ioane, now passing out wide. Caleb Clark smashes into two players. So Tutu, quick hands to Fusitua, looked flat. If not, maybe even forward. Still there for the Blues. Angus Ta'aval. 14 minutes remaining. And a penalty advantage in favour of the Blues. Finley Christie looking to the ref, hoping that he believes him. And now they'll go back for another penalty. And hang in there, Highlanders. Blues are knock-on artists. And I got the Blues by 24, though. Fail big time on prediction. Not over yet, though. You got to remember, 13 against 15 for the next 11 and a half minutes. What team does Wallace Atiti play for? He plays for the Chiefs, but he's currently out with an injury. So, yeah, he plays for them, but just not currently. Right, Harry Plummer kicks towards the touchline, makes sure that it goes out. That's the last thing that the Blues would have wanted, is that one not finding the sideline. Now, 13 minutes remaining. Like they've just said, this is going to be the tactic for the Blues. Throw everyone into the rolling maul. Highlanders already down a couple men, and pretty much either work your way to the goal line or get a penalty try from it. That is the reality of this situation now for the Landers. Two of them are in the wrong position already, which is going to mean that the Blues, this is just going to be a walk-in. I can tell you right now, 10 metres out from the line. Ricky Riccatelli hanging on to it. Oh, 23 through the middle, though, just to cause a little bit of a chance. Nope, pass back to Adrian Choate. It's gone down. He will break round the side, and somehow the Highlanders stop it. But the job is not done. Blues, you're terrible. And the Blues head-to-head. Penalty goes the way of the Blues now. Now, I believe that'll be the same tactic again here for the Blues, or they'll go for the scrum. Move it to Tutu, says Ruth. And exciting stuff, Fakatava, says Ruth, although he is no longer on the field. Instead, it is Hasty. Made his way on. Looks like Adrian Choate might have hurt himself a little bit in the process of that rolling maul. Blues, your plane's waiting, says Ruslan. Just the one try for Adrian Choate throughout his 46 matches. A tall order, Blues to win shame. Oh, yeah, no, he just kind of extended that knee a bit too far. So it's probably going to be him now going off the field. The cards will probably cost the Landers, more than likely, yes. And I'll be honest, like, giving away the penalty, probably best case scenario for the Highlanders in that maul. Worst case scenario would have been a try and a yellow card. So, like, it's just pretty much about holding on and hoping that the Blues make the mistake. And All Blacks jersey might be coming off. Exciting idea. And Landers win, says Jen. It's going to be a long 12 minutes with 13 players on the field. And that is also down to not just the discipline, but also the injuries that have been picked up throughout this game. Because Ethan Group cannot return onto the field, it means that they cannot return to having the 14. A new flash. Okay, so they have decided to go for the scrum. And what are you doing? Why are you doing the next match after this one for Super Rugby? We are not. No, we are doing the URC at 12:45 a.m. New Zealand time, though. And then alongside that, I'm also doing the 2 games of the Six Nations and about probably 6 or 7 games of the Sevens in around 10 hours. Or a little bit later than that, maybe closer to 12 hours. And then after that, we've also got more Sevens and more Six Nations the next day. But Stoddard, he's made his way on. Oh no, line out, sorry, rather than the scrum. Opting to kick for the corner instead. Once again, this is just going to be, oh, it's contested. Great play from the Highlanders. I think they had the realization that if they contest and it's not straight, they can get away with it. Possibly either get that steal or the free kick in their favour. And JJ, you take a lot of credit for the resurgence of Highlanders Rugby. A rough sleep schedule for you, says Jacob Hill. Yep. Yeah, I think at most I'm going to get like a 2-hour nap before Sunday afternoon from now. So that's nice. Yep, Highlanders going to win. Says Bradley. That time they do not contest. It's going to be sacked straight away. And legally done by the Highlanders. The first game plan for the Blues was to get that rolling maul going, and they haven't been able to do so. Sean Withy trying to go over the breakdown. It's dedication, respect, says Jacob Hill. Now 15 metres out. Highlanders with only the 5-point lead. Tava Nawai. He's given away the penalty that time. The hand was down. Another nail-biting game, says Novmum. Do you think the Bulls will beat the Lions? They should, but you just never know with the way that the Bulls are currently playing. They've been very up and down in the last few weeks. Right. Once again, it looks like the Blues are going to opt for the corner. This is just repetition at its finest at this stage. And eventually you assume that there will be that different result. They know that they need the try, though, rather than just taking threes, which they could have had all day. So they almost have to commit to it. 15 versus 13, and the Blues still struggling. Amberfield scrum from the penalty, says Studs Race. They've decided to go for the rolling maul yet again. I think the Highlanders will once again compete for this one and try and slap it in their favour. They do. Oh, dropped, and it's knocked on. Kick downfield from Taylor. What a boot that is from the big man. What a kick. Off his left boot, the casual hooker replacement just kicks it down about 55, 60 metres from where he was. And he hasn't even smiled about it. But yeah, drop ball from Josh Berry. And it was dropped by Dalton Papali'i as well. Goddamn Blues, how do we go from chance to struggling against 13-man Highlanders, says Jacob Hill. But it's that extra pressure of knowing you're supposed to score. Oh, they didn't even jump for that one. Ball is loose. Taylor knocked on again by the Blues. And this time it's Corey Evans who puts it down. Oh, a little bit of push and shove, bit of feeling in that one. See what I mean? Blues are knock-on artists, this other side of the fence. They certainly have been throughout the last little while. They've gone from being on hot attack to being about 22 metres out from their line and with a non-contested scrum, which will mean that the Highlanders are guaranteed to retain. A lot of nervous faces in the stands. Oh dear, Blues feeling the nerves now, says Ruth. And this is a stupid repeating stupid, says Drape. And up the Landers, says James Speed. And Blues look clueless. Landers thoroughly deserved this, says Studs Rays. Yeah, although still a long time remaining. 8 minutes can feel like an eternity when you have got less men on the field than your opposition. And normally that's when you're one down rather than two. Blues may be suffering from a championship hangover, says Marcel. I think the Blues of Highlanders knock on ball. And now going off the back to Mothi Tavanawai. Ball is still there for the Highlanders. Hasty goes across to the youngster Taylor, who is the reason they are this far up the field. Almost a turnover there for the Blues. Yes, it is. Dalton Papali'i takes it straight back. This is actually better for the Blues if they go with a counter-attack rather than the structured play for now. Now, nice run forward from Josh Berry. Rush defence doesn't work out there. Little grubber from Bowden Barrett gives it back to Hurley, who will keep it in the field of play, and Plummer with the last-ditch effort to keep the ball alive. Barrett kicks it into touch, and it will be a line-out for the Highlanders. Looks like a bit of cramp there for Hurley too. He was slowing down big time by the time he was running through. But Bowden Barrett, that was a poor decision. And once again, it's pressure. When you expect to be leading because you've got a two-man advantage, sometimes you can make simple errors that normally you wouldn't. But it means that it's going to be a line-out now for the Highlanders. Harry Plummer did well to get back there because normally we would see Hurley run it in, but also his own cramp kind of let him down too. Wife just gave me a big bowl of popcorn and a beer. Says Reflecting Trees. And now Taylor, ready to throw this line out in. And they get it right. It's going straight to Holland. Now across to Caleb Tangitau. They're only 10 metres out from the line at the moment. Another penalty against the Blues would give the Highlanders an 8-point lead here. Bowden Barrett. He will be eagerly awaiting to find out the result of going for that kick. Advantage straight out in front of the post. So all they have to do is just keep on going phase after phase and try and score here. Worst comes to worst, they can go back for the 3. Ball's there, they'll go back for the penalty now. Put some bacon on it, says Ash. Bowden Barrett having a kick-a-thon. And I need C, please, says Tony. At the moment, we are 6 minutes remaining. 5 points difference, and this one is as easy of a kick as you will see. Waisaki Naholo chance. They haven't got him for this game, but I'm sure they would have loved to see him out there on the field. And how good was the game between Fiji and Draw and the Hurricanes? And it was an incredible game, and this one's looking like it's shaping up in that exact same manner. Showing Tava Nawai. He's had a brilliant game here in keeping the Highlanders in this contest. Same with Finn Hurley at number 15, 13-1 red says, and alike because of the uncontested scrums. That is the reason behind it. So pretty much because they don't have an extra prop, because their prop got penalised and the other one is injured, it means that they have to do 13 on the field while this red card is existing, which is still for another 3 or so minutes. Sam Gilbert using up as much of the clock as he can. The Blues are going to be outside of a converted try here. And he kicks it over. 5 minutes left on the clock, and the Highlanders now leading 29 points to 21. What a last few hectic minutes, and the Landers need to bring back Jamie. Says Kiwi Rob, and it's ridiculous, says Reflecting Trees. Yeah, to be honest, the Blues shouldn't be anywhere near losing this game. In terms of, like, the fact that they've been up against 13 men, the amount of rolling mauls that they've squandered, unfortunately, throughout the last little while. And also, alongside that, we've got to remember that there is also the other side of things. Oh, no, tell you what, Bowden Barrett's going for. We will mention that in a short moment, but pretty much turning down the threes. Caleb Tangi Tau rips it off Barrett, and El Tamothi, Tava Nawai, looking for the 50-22. It won't curl enough, but the Blues have to retreat to only 5 metres out from their own line. Harry Plummer time, and kicks it into touch. Another massive territory gain for the Highlanders. How many men do the Highlanders have on the field so far at the moment? Currently, they do have 13 out there. And to then born and having a large Scottish whiskey with my heart in my mouth. It looks like 2 weeks in a row Blues meltdown in the second half. And the Blues are washed this year, says PS2. Right. No huddles allowed, says Nick Berry. Get back out there and get ready to play the last 4 minutes. Oh. Okay, the medic saying one of our players is injured. Nick Berry's going, he's not needed for the line out, so get in there. Ten seconds to throw it now. They better throw it right now. That's more than 10 seconds, but it is going to be play on. Is it possible for the Blues to win? It is, but it's going to be tough. And it shouldn't have been. So Dudo, come on, says Roof. Now Tenuelu Talia. This is embarrassing for the Blues. Not going to win this year, says Banana Lucy. And 3 minutes left, close game. Yeah, 3 minutes remaining now and 8 points difference between the two sides. The Blues with some desperation, trying to get a turnover in the breakdown. And it looks like the Landers, they are almost shutting up shop. They're happy enough just to stall with this ball for a couple of minutes if they can. And make it so that there isn't enough time for the Blues, but almost stealing it. Dalton Papali'i told to leave it. Now once again, going with the phase play, Hasty looks off to Tamothi, Tava Nawai. He will always try and make those couple extra meters too. Dalton trying to go through the middle, dragging everyone down. And it's going to be there for Sean Withy. Blues were in front of the Lavenders line and kept going for lineouts against 13-man. Captain needs to answer that question, says Drape. And up the effing Highlanders well. Give the ball to Bowden Barrett, he'll stuff it up, says John. Now, Hasty again will go off to the side. Referee telling them to use it. A very dangerous backline this year. The Landers underrated, says Cameron. Yeah, I mean, Tamothi Tava Nawai had some brilliant plays throughout this game. Gilbert played his part out wide. We saw Finn Hurley, who I believe would have had man of the match if it wasn't for... Oh, and that's going to be another penalty, this time going against the Blues. Trying to force the turnover, and it's not going to happen for them. With 13 players, it doesn't sound like the Blues are getting the ball out wide to take advantage. Crazy, says Chris. And they've got this now, Landers, absolute heroes. And sorry, Joy's Blues, enjoy the flight back home, says Ruslin. And next week, they are going to be going head-to-head with none other than the Hurricanes. So that will be another intriguing game to keep an eye on. Bye-bye, Blues, says Banana Lucy. We don't need to see the Zoo Sky, says Kiwi Rob. But now, 1 minute remaining on the clock. Let's effing finish this, boys, is what we've just heard come over the intercoms. And good for my multi-low, says Will G. Making his way off the field. Tane Robinson, solid game at 10. Cam Miller's going to get a minute, but it's not going to make a huge amount of difference here, I wouldn't think. The Blues are playing like amateurs against the Highlanders, says Alessio. I should mention they are, I believe, back, or at least they'll be close to back to 14 on the field now. Tamofi Tava Nawai. Still there for Hasty. They're just going to keep on hanging on to this. This will be so frustrating for the Blues. Oh, little bit of wrestling going on. They're going to behave themselves. Looks like it's Sawani Vakina. He'll be happy. He's got one over his old teammates. Hasty. Pressure on him by like Mullen. Trying to get the counter ruck going. The Blues, of course, at this stage won't even receive a bonus point from this game. I've just realised. Dalton Papali'i wanted it. 30 seconds remaining. The crowd are loving it. I think the Highlanders got this one. Boys, my Blues. Now Hasty hanging on to it. 15 seconds remaining. Blues still looking for that next turnover. They won't get it into the pocket. Kicked into touch. And it's full time. The Highlanders win it by 8. No points for the Blues. They are still going to be bottom of the table after 2 rounds. Which I don't think anyone was predicting for the defending champs. The Highlanders with a win there, they will move all the way up to, I believe they will now be just currently 3rd on the standings. I have to wait and see how they sit at the end of this round. Of course, Brumbies and the Force are going to be playing up against each other. One of those two sides will increase. One of them will possibly drop a little bit, but will still be relatively similar as well. Yeah, baby. And cook my cash, but what a game. And Nick Berry should go back to school and learn how to count to 10 seconds. Look at that try because the Landers' foot was out. Says Kiwi Rob. Which try? The one that they did disallow? I know that the one where Caleb Tangitau fired it back into Hurley, they did check and they did see that the foot was in touch. And 15 versus 13, absolutely frustrating. Yeah, like, I'll say it again. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the Blues shouldn't have lost that. They had enough opportunity. They turned down how many 3-pointers? Probably 5, 6 throughout this game. And if they had taken all of those, they would have won. But Dalton Papali'i looks actually gobsmacked. He looked confused. He looked frustrated. He looked like he had no idea how that just happened. And I feel like some of the Highlanders players probably are thinking the same thing. Will the Crusaders stay at 7th? Roughly, anyway. I think they're maybe 8th now. I think the Hurricanes will go above them. Blues with Plummer and Geriatrics. I will stay near the bottom of the log, says 2M Systems. We've got to remember, though, with like Harry Plummer, he was one of the main reasons they won that Super Rugby final last year. So a little bit of a short memory in that regard. But, yeah, definitely not Bowden Barrett at 15. Like, that's the thing. He had some good moments. But unfortunately for the Blues, when you have that many opportunities to score tries and you consistently butcher them and also have about 15 handling errors in a stadium with a roof, that's going to hurt you. No matter how you look at it, no matter what's happening in your 10, your 15, your 12, your 13, if you're dropping the ball more times than you're holding it, you're going to struggle to win a game even with a 2-man advantage. And a bit of Blues arrogance, perhaps. I don't know whether I'd call it arrogance. I think it's more confidence. They thought that they would be able to just roll in over the top of the Landers when they had those men advantage. And on another day, they probably would have. But the Highlanders fought for every bit of this game, playing with 13, and like they're just interviewing Hurley here, like he wouldn't have been expecting it to go the way that it did. Good game, good results, says Stuart Moore. What the hell were those formations? Lazy lineouts, says Mr. All-In. And we have got there, maybe Blues won't be stubborn, not going for the 3 moving forward. Now we have also got the Highlanders need to use their home ground to their advantage because typically they do well at home, poor away, says Lucky. Enrico, man of the match, awesome as usual, says Crotimus. But Finn Hurley, 162 metres made, 10 carries, 2 tries, 3 offloads, and some crucial defence as well. Nick Berry had a bad game, says Kiwi Rob. So did the Blues. Like, you can blame Nick Berry if you want to, because I know that that's normally the first thing that people go to when they lose. But, I mean, the Blues were awful at times throughout this match. like being as honest as we can, whether a decision or two went against them or not, you can't do what they did out there and somehow butcher the opportunity. Like dropping the ball when there's no pressure. That's schoolboy stuff that the Blues weren't able to deal with. Shut up, Hamish, says Kiwi Rob. Normally that is what I'm told when I slightly tell the truth. How embarrassing, says In a Light. And Highlanders played awesome with 13, says Matthew. And cheers, mate, for streaming, says Setimus. No worries at all. And our next live stream, of course, is going to be happening between the Bulls and the Lions. You can't miss a foot in touch, says Kiwi Rob. So let's say they don't get that 7. 22-21, still a win to the Highlanders. Of course, maybe something else happens there, but at the end of the day, still, in some regards, I think the Blues would have gone for the corner because they did it the whole time. You can't blame the ref when you're playing against 13. Says other side of the fence, but people still will. And great call, Hamish, says Drape. And Tawatawa Nawai for 12 for the All Blacks. Yeah, he's definitely right up there in terms of contention at the moment. Hamish, did someone tell you to shut up or no? They did. Yeah, because I said that the Blues were bad for this game. Don't get me wrong. We mentioned it on the last live stream. The Blues are going to find their rhythm and they're going to be a very dangerous team. But for now, they need to go back to the drawing board. They need to work out how to fix those fundamentals. Simple stuff. Literally catching the ball. The Landers were sneaking up all game, says Kiwi Rob. I mean, it seems like no matter what we tell you, you are going to go with Nick Berry cost you the match. So you can have that if that makes you sleep better at night. But at the end of the day, the Blues, they'll look at this game and they won't look at Nick Berry as the problem. They'll look at their own team. Dalton Papali'i, like I said, at the end of the game, he looked frustrated. He looked confused at how they managed to butcher that. Like, yeah, they're talking to Patrick Tuipulotu here as well. He'll be the same. He won't know how they let that one slip. Disappointing, did it to ourselves, says the Blues. There's no mention of Berry there. You needed a Japanese coach to turn the Landers around, says Kiwi Rob. A Japanese coach from New Zealand, isn't he? Jamie Joseph. We have got their Blues holding the backs, and Finn's defence was awesome, says Roof there as well. The worst thing for Tuipulotu, he's doing an interview about how sad the Blues are that they've lost, and there's a kid in the background with a Highlanders shirt on just jumping. He's having a great time. You lost, bro, take it on the chin. I don't think that's going to happen by the looks of the reaction from Kiwi Rob. Who's better, Bowden Barrett or Finley Christie? I think in this game, like Christie scored, Bowden Barrett scored. Bowden, I still think, had a better game than Finley Christie as a whole, but they both had pretty poor performances. People forget Geordie Barrett is the 12 for New Zealand. Says annoyed they do, but then we also look at the heavy schedule that they are going to have later on. 5 matches in a row. Geordie Barrett did not play all of them last season, so that opens up another opportunity for someone else to pop their way in there. And Tawatawa Nawai at the moment does seem to be a guy that a lot of people are looking towards. Unbelievable play by Landers, lucky 13 men. Says Roof there, great game. Says Moa Hunters. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We will be back in around 4 hours' time. That is going to be for the matchup taking place between the Bulls and the Lions. Then from there, we're covering 2 more matches of the Six Nations. So we got plenty more action and then some 7s taking place tomorrow morning to throw it in there as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for being here, and I will see you all for the next one.